Good afternoon. Power and control are central themes in The Tempest, shaping the relationship between characters and influencing the events on the island. Shakespeare explores the different dimensions of political power, magical, and personal power through the actions and interactions of the characters, particularly Prospero, the play's protagonist. Prospero's control is rooted in his mystery and his mastery of magic, which enables him to command the elements, create the titular tempest, and manipulate the lives of others. His domination of Ariel and Caliban reflects his assertion of power over the natural and supernatural realism. Bound by promise of eventual freedom, willing serves Prospero, while Caliban resists, representing the tension between colonized and colonizer. Sorry. Prospero's control over the island parallels the dynamics of colonization, and he is imposed his authority on its native inhabitant Caliban, claiming the land is as his own. Political power is another critical aspect illustrated through the backstory of Prospero's usurpation by his brother Antonio. Antonio's betrayal underscores the corrupting influence of ambition and the fragility of human bonds when power is at stake. On the island, power struggles emerge among the shipwrecked nobles, such as Antonio and Sebastian's conspiracy to kill Alonso, highlighting the pervasive and destructive nature of the desire for control. However, Shakespeare also critiques the abuse of power and explores its moral implications. Prospero's journey involves a gradual flow of his need for control, signified by his decision to forgive his enemies and abandon his magic. This act of mercy underscores the idea that true power lies in self restraint and compassion rather than domination. This is the important point where the true power lies in self restraint and compassion rather than domination. Ultimately, the Tempest presents power as a multifaceted force capable of both creation and destruction. Shakespeare suggests that while power can be wielded to assert authority and impose order, it must be tempered with wisdom, forgiveness, and a recognition of shared humanity to achieve true harmony through the resolution of conflict and prosperous transformation. The play emphasizes the importance of ethical leadership and the redemptive potential of relinquished control over the power. The another important point is colonization, which is very significant theme in The Tempest, explored through the relationship between Prospero, the colonizer, and Caliban, the colonized. Set on a remote, uncharted island, the play can be read as commentary on European colonial practices, highlighting issue of domination, cultural imposition, and resistance. Shakespeare certainly critiqued the moral complexities of colonization and illustrating how it dehumanizes both the colonizer and the colonized. Prospero arrives on the island after being exiled from Milan, and through his knowledge of magic, he establishes control over the land, its inhabitants. He claims ownership of the island, dispatching Caliban, the island's original inhabitant. Caliban, who initially tries to educate Prospero about island's nature, wonders is subjugated when Prospero takes control, treating him as a inferior. In his sense, Caliban symbolizes the colonized native forced into servitude and deprived of his autonomy. He bitterly resents Prospero for taking over the island that he belonged to him. Believes he bitterly resents Prospero and he believes to him by birthright, stating the island's mine, my by Sicrox, my mother, which thou takest from me. This quote underscores the notion that colonizer and resources from the indigenous people, denying them their rightful place. The relationship between Prospero and Caliban reflects the dynamics of European colonialism in the 16th and the 17th centuries, where European power sought to dominate and civilize the lands and people they encountered. In the New World, prosperous attitude towards Caliban is evident when he justifies his rule by claiming that he civilized the Caliban, teaching him the language and offering him a gift of knowledge. However, Caliban rejected of Prospero's control and his desire to reclaim the island demonstrate the resistance of colonization as he sees the foreign rule as an imposition on the nature existence. The key control in the play is seen in the characters of Ariel, who, unlike Caliban, is subjugated but is more compliant in his service to Prospero. Ariel, a spirit trapped by sorry let's come to the point. A key control in the play is seen in the character of Ariel, who, unlike Caliban, is subjugated but is more compliant in his service to Prospero. Unlike Caliban, is subjugated but is more compliant. Ariel, a spirit trapped by Sicros, serves Prospero in exchange for the promise of eventual freedom, making him a symbol of more docile complaint of eventual freedom, making him a symbol of more docile complaint colonial subject. This contrast highlights the different ways colonized people may respond to their oppressor. Some may resist openly, while others may seek to appease their rules for the promise of a better future. Shakespeare also engages with the idea of power and authority within the context of colonialism. While Prospero wields magical power to control the island, the play ultimately questions the legitimacy of his rule. As the play progresses, Prospero's relinquishment of his magic and his decision to forgive his enemies suggest a critique of the authorization nature of the colonial power. His eventual return to Milan signals the end of his colonial rule over the island, and restoration of order and justice. The theme of colonization in The Tempest is complex, binding issue of power, exploration, resistance, and redemption. Shakespeare does not offer a clear-cut judgment on the colonialism, but instead invites the audience to reflect on the moral consequences of domination and possibilities of reconciliation. The play's resolution, in which Prospero chooses forgiveness over his power, can be seen as an allegory for the potential for peaceful coexistence between colonizers and colonized, provided there is a mutual recognition of humanity and respect. This is the short information about Tempest, where the important point is the theme of power and control, forgiveness and reconciliation. These are the important points in the Tempest. The another point, that is about the Caliban and the nature, the theme of illusion and reality, magic in the Tempest, and while seeing this play, we may come across some of the such points. This is all about the Tempest. We will come to the Tempest later on. Okay, thank you. Good day.